which I know we do want to dive a little bit more into specifically. So yeah, do you guys want to talk a little bit more about vaults?
Sure. Vaults are a new dungeon for the season, and we have 4 types of vaults. Like I said before, they are this extension of Malphas. And because of that, he has turned the hazards inside of them into enemies in and of themselves. We wanted to explore the fantasy of a environment that was hostile, and it was ready to kill you often. And so they're filled with hazards that, spinning fires of death, floor plates that come alive, arrows that shoot out of the walls, and with our construct enemies. I think we have some footage of the vaults as well to kind of walk you through it. So yeah, constructs in them per usual. These, because they're so hostile and dangerous, we wanted them to have a good, be lucrative and be risk reward. So we have a lot of different loot. I think a little bit later in the video, there's like an explosion of gold, and that's just going to be common. And our dungeon designers, typically with the dungeon experience, you get a pop-up and you're like, okay, it's telling me to kill all the enemies, I know what to do. The dungeon designers wanted to explore a little bit of I'm not sure what I'm going to be experiencing, I have to go find my objective. And so the objectives are vague a little bit on purpose, but typically vaults end in this, what we call informally as a death room, a danger room, where everything is being thrown at you, all the traps from the vault accumulated in one large room. So yeah, we're really excited. It's a bit of new gameplay, dodging traps, and this is one of the danger rooms, for example. Yeah, we're really excited to get people to dive into this and experiment.
And obviously with vaults, tons of traps here.
Yes.
I know that there's some gameplay associated with avoiding them and rewards associated with those as well.
Yes, absolutely. So certainly Madeline has outlined a lot of the risks associated with vaults. I mean, those hazards are going to be pretty unforgiving. But if we're putting a lot of risks in front of you guys, we want to make sure there's a lot of rewards too. So you saw a little bit of it already with some of the basic chests in the vaults have been souped up, so they're more rewarding than those chests you'd find in other dungeons. But there's another mechanic at play too, and that's called Zoltan's Warding. So as you enter vault, after you've cleared some of Malphas's influence out of the vault, you can find this statue of Zoltan Kuhl, because of course Zoltan Kuhl,
he has to have a statue.
He's got to have a statue in every vault. I mean, that's just how he rolls, right? So if you're able to find a special, it's called a Pearl of Warding, you can offer that to the statue, and in return, the statue is going to grant you Zoltan's Warding. This is a buff. It doesn't really help your combat too much, but what it does is it gives you additional rewards, and you can see right there's kind of that glowing one to the side with the icon. That is a ward-woven chest that contains extra rewards if you're able to keep that buff. And so as you get better and better at the vaults, you're going to start basically challenging yourself to keep the buff. And you keep the buff by avoiding the hazards. And so the gameplay really becomes focused on trying to make sure that you're moving as cleanly as possible through the vaults, in addition to fighting the enemies in order to get the highest payout.
And if you make mistakes, I know I will make mistakes.
Yes, I will too.
I am a person that gets hit by every single trap under the sun. Are there ways of being able to help mitigate some of those types of mistakes?
You can have multiple stacks of buffs. So one pearl is, I believe, 3 stacks.
Yep.
And so if you want to go grind the overworld activity to get the pearls, you're like, okay, I have a bunch of stacks, I have a really good chance. And if you don't make it and no stacks left, there were 2 chests at the end, you still always get a loot. But the super great loot comes from Zoltan's Warding.
Yep.
Got it. So so there are opportunities for players to actually get multiple chests.
Yes.
And you can actually have multiple stacks of warding to essentially create a buffer if you're planning on playing a little bit more sloppy.
If you really want to brute force your way through, you can, but you've got to invest a little more time.
Got it. No, that makes sense. That's great to know.